Okay, welcome to our city council meeting for Wednesday, April 8th. We apologize for the late start for those here. We're wrapping up our other meeting. Want to just kind of finish an agenda item, so our apologies there, but we'll get started tonight with Pledge of Allegiance by Jill Lemon.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jill. Okay, we'll move on to item 5.2, City Council comments and recognitions. Anything from council tonight? Okay, seeing none, we will move to our public comment portion. At this point, audience members may bring any item within the city's purview to the city council's attention. Comments will be limited to 2 minutes. State law prohibits the council from acting on items that do not appear on the agenda. Public comments for this meeting will also be conducted electronically. Any person interested in addressing the council may submit a comment by emailing recorder@herriman.gov or by visiting herriman.gov/agendas and minutes, where there's a link to fill out an online public comment form. Your statement will be incorporated into the public record. So at this point, we'll take any public comment from the three of you. Do it, Jordan. You guilted them.
Yeah, thank you for having me tonight. I wanted to address the council briefly to share our vision for the city of Herriman and a new way to bring revenue to the city. I noticed the stubbed out power outside and potentially some plans for EV charging there, but I started my company about 2 years ago, and in the early days, very early on, I said a prayer and I asked, how do we make this thing work? The answer I got was, make it about everyone else. And that resonated. That sounded like a good plan. And so just in general terms, I know I'm running out of time, but when we put in chargers, we'll put them in at our cost. There's plenty of revenue that comes out of these chargers that we would be happy to share with the city of Herriman and its residents with no conditions. Thanks for having us, and we'll talk more specifically on other sites soon.
Okay. Can you state your name for us?
Jordan Marsh, and the company is Herriman Electric Concepts.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you, Jordan. Appreciate you being here tonight.
Good evening. My name is Carrie Mercer. I am here representing South Valley Performing Arts. Thank you for having me and allowing me to take a few minutes, or a couple minutes. I just wanted to share with you quickly just our mission statement and why we feel it's important for the community. South Valley Performing Arts creates transformative musical theater experiences that inspire, educate, and unite, empowering artists of all ages, welcoming new voices, and investing in our community through arts, education, volunteerism, and charitable support for future generations. And then our catchphrase, if you will, is bringing stories to life and giving back through every act. So for a long time, I have worked with Herriman City, doing productions and helping the youth and teens find a place and find that joy of being on the stage and finding confidence in new friends. We've also had a lot of residents that have come and volunteered and found a place as well. So what we've done is we've gone to every city in the South Valley, and we now have liaisons from every city. So from West Jordan, South Jordan, Riverton, Herriman, and Bluffdale. So we have a representative from each of their arts councils as well as Herriman's to create the South Valley Performing Arts. And what our goal is to bring everybody from every other city to come into Herriman. So we do things like master classes, musical performances, summer camps and classes, things like that. And what we've seen, we just finished a master class, and we had equal representation from every single city that we were able to bring here to Herriman. So we were really, really thrilled about that. We are trying to just put on these musical productions. And we have also partnered with Jordan Education Foundation, and they have given us access to all of their schools to perform in. And what we will do in return is give them a portion of our proceeds that actually help the schools and their performing arts departments as well and build those up. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carrie. Okay, seeing no further public comment, we'll move on to our council reports tonight, and we'll start with Jared.
All right, Unified Fire Authority, we begin the next part of the budget process tomorrow with our finance committee, so I will save the fun of that for you for later. And then the garbage board, Wasatch Front Waste Recycling District, there we held a brief meeting with them. Well, I'll say there was a meeting held last Thursday. My report is simply, I don't feel it was very productive at all. There's really kind of two ways forward right now. What I heard from their representative / lobbyist was they felt the ball was in our court to make some sort of offer to find a mutual agreement. And the second route, so there's the route of finding a mutual agreement still, and then there's the route of waiting for the new legislation to be effective May 6th, and we just follow those provisions. So I believe I was participating remotely. I believe the staff told them, look, we'll have to bring this back to the council and see. So my suggestion would be for council to task kind of our working group, which has been comprised of Nathan and his team and the mayor and I, to see if we can come up with a proposal to bring to the council to propose to them as a mutual agreement, and then go from there. And at the same time, I think we need to pursue both avenues, right? Plan on preparing to follow the new provisions May 6th, but hopefully we can find an agreement between now and then.
Thank you. Teddy.
Carrie, I know Mike Haynes lives that board he's on, your board for from the Jeff. It's a fun board for me to be on. Next week, we have our wastewater treatment conference down in St. George. I'll be attending that with another council member from Riverton to help celebrate some awards and winning that our wonderful staff has done there at the Jordan Basement Improvement District. And that's all I have for this week.
Perfect. Thank you, Matt.
All right, some news from the Jordan Valley Conservancy District from their board meeting today. The board voted to establish the water supply available level for this year. That is assigned a numerical number from 0 to 4, with 0 basically meaning we got lots of water and 4 meaning we don't have very much water at all. They voted to set that level this year at 2. So just a couple of things that kind of come into play with that specific level is there's a 10% reduction for the typical use of the wholesale member agencies, which we are a part of. And then if we as Herriman City go over 110% of our contracted volume with them, then we are assessed a pretty significant surcharge on that. And then, of course, the public is encouraged to reduce their total water consumption by 10%. And then that they note that residential and commercial lawn water restrictions, lawns are going to stay alive, but not necessarily thriving. So brown's the cool green again this year. So that's the information coming from the Water Valley Conservancy, or Jordan Valley Water Conservancy District. Also, about a week and a half ago, I had a chance to attend Fire School 101, which is put on by Unified Fire and Labor for Unified Fire. And they basically put us through the paces. We show up at 6:30 in the morning and we're done at 4:30. And we get a little bit of a taste of what it's like to be a firefighter and a paramedic. And it helps, it does a really good job of helping elected officials just get a little glimpse of what it's like to do their job for a day. And we just get a little bit of a taste of it, and we get to play with their toys. I call them toys, but some pretty awesome equipment that they use to keep us safe. And so I just wanted to thank Unified Fire for that opportunity to get educated a little bit.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, I don't have anything to bring tonight, so we'll move on to item 9, our consent agenda. Look for a motion.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
Second.
By Jared, second by, oh, Tara, I'm so sorry. Tara, are you still online with us?
I am, and I don't
so
have
sorry.
anything to report.
I'm so sorry, nothing, I'm so glad. And also note that Tara is with us. She's at a work training in Southern Utah with her state job, so thank you, Tara. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
No problem.
And also happy birthday to Matt.
Thank you.
So we will not sing because we don't sing.
Thank you again.
Yes. Carrie sings. She can sing to you after. Carrie sings, so. Jill sings too. I'm pretty sure Jill sings.
You would have to give her another 30 seconds, I guess.
Another 30
That's to your preview.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, anyway, so we did have a motion on the table for consent. That's what made me, because I was going to go through the roll call, and I realized Tara was online, so. Good motion on the table, so we'll go roll call vote. Jared?
Yes.
Teddy?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
Tara?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. That motion carries. Thank you. Okay, item 10.1, discussion and consideration of an ordinance to amend section 4-2-3 of the Herriman City Code regarding firework discharge restrictions and adopting an updated restriction map.
All right, I have a presentation coming up here. It's just really quick. Following up from our last council meeting, this item was pulled off the consent agenda, and so we went and gathered the information, updated the map as was requested by the council. So this first map shown here, we've highlighted the areas that we've added to the restricted areas. We talked about areas out west along 7530. We talked about areas around the Cove and around the Salt Lake Community College. Another one that we noticed was we were looking at the other cities, neighboring cities' maps. In South Jordan, all of Daybreak is restricted. So we looked at this, and there were some pockets north of Midas Creek. So we recommended that we'd restrict Midas Creek to the north, just to be consistent with the South Jordan border. And just to note, Riverton and Bluffdale only highlighted their creeks. So our creeks line right up with theirs, so that we're consistent with our neighboring maps. We also pulled police call data, have the number of calls shown on the left in the table, and then they're graphically shown on the map. To note, in 2024, there were a lot more calls than normal. There were 183 calls regarding fireworks being let off in the Miller Crossing storm drain pipe. And those calls all came in between July 11th and August 10th. So what's interesting is the next slide shows that there was only one fire that year. So concrete pipes don't light on fire. But it was good to get the calls and for people to be safe. And it is restricted in that area anyway because it is an open space area. But this shows the fire department calls. And of course, we have Chief Stromberg and Chief Whittison here to answer any questions about police calls or the fire department calls. But you can see there aren't a lot of actual fire calls here. And then it's about 66% of the calls for our peak month versus our non-peak month. Any questions on the fire or the police or the fire department calls on those maps? Okay.
Thank you for putting
Yes.
this together.
So part of this motion is also to amend the code. You can see on the left here what is proposed to be amended. It actually simplifies quite a bit and takes out some of the numbers and the locations and references the map more directly. And so we'll just be required to update the map, which we already are by the county annually, and then the code will reference the map, and so that'll be what's guiding. So staff recommends approval of this. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
So you've taken the description of the distance off of the policy or the code, but it's on the map. So if we want to change that down to 100 or 200 or 500, we could, okay.
That's correct.
If I may,
Yeah,
some of
please.
this is coming out of state statute on what you can do. And so when you restrict an area, we're supposed to be able to point to we have to be able to articulate what environmental hazard we're trying to pull people back from. So that's, I think, where the 200 feet comes from. I don't think that was Herriman. I think that's everywhere is state statute.
I'm going to scroll for just a second while they're looking at the maps. Our attorney's not here. There's one extra thing I'd asked him to maybe mention, because I just think that most people are completely unaware. So if you look at all the firework calls, 183, right? Kids messing around at a storm drain pipe, et cetera. I'd asked him to maybe talk to the liability issue. I just don't think most people are aware. Like if you set off a firework and it lands on somebody's, bottle rocket lands on somebody's house and burns their house down, who's liable for that? If it goes in an open field, burns the field down. We've got a statewide, agencies from around the state responding to a hillside fire. Who pays for that?
Can you speak to that, or, yeah, go ahead, Anthony, yeah.
So law already allows there to be criminal and civil liability when for human caused fires, and that of course includes fireworks. It's also if it's lit off in anywhere within that mapped area, it's already considered negligent or intentional, reckless. So you are subject to criminal charges. Also, the state code allows for recovery of suppression costs and damages. So not just what the damage was done, but also all of the fire suppression costs, which can be extraordinary to put the fire out. So if you think about all the ground resources that are responding, but also the air resources that are extraordinarily expensive, those an individual can be responsible for those costs.
And if they're underage, their parents are responsible. So I just wanted to mention that, just because I think a lot of times our attitudes are, well, fireworks are a harmless thing, and we're in a neighborhood, and what harm can it do? Well, just about every year, somewhere in the valley, something goes horribly wrong, and it's not just an oopsie. It's kind of a life-changing event for both sides, right? So from criminal prosecution to literally paying for that for the rest of your life.
Well, not only that, I mean, there are several mishaps per year of actually handling and exploding them, and they're disforming at best for individuals. So.
You can also do everything right according to directions on the fireworks. You can be lighting the fireworks off in an area which is 100% legal to do so in the middle of the street. That firework sets your neighbor's house on fire, even though you followed all of the rules. I can tell you from professional experience over the last 3 decades, you're paying for it. So I don't take lightly, basically taking somebody's ability to light up a firework away. I like fireworks. I like watching fireworks. I know a lot of people like to light off fireworks. I know that I had some, specific, input into some areas, that are going to affect the people in my district, that they were allowed to light off fireworks last year, and they're not going to be able to do it this year. And I don't take that, lightly. And there's factors that need to be weighed, to do that. But this year is shaping up to just be a really bad fire year. Everybody's seen in the news, stuff's burning down, even starting last month. And I think we're all grateful for the rain that we had a couple of weeks ago. That's going to turn things green right now, but all that stuff that allowed to grow is going to turn brown in the summer because it's coming. So there's going to be plenty of fuel. We're revisit this, every year, and we just need to, make sure that we are balancing the fire danger with the ability to light off fireworks.
Thank you. And again, I'll just echo, we go over this every year. So, I mean, it's a bad year this year. If we get it, hopefully we have a wet winter and we can scale it back, the restrictions next year, right? We did debate a full-on ban almost, right? So we're trying to find a reasonable solution here, so I think we're there. So,
Thank you guys for
Thank you.
changing that map up and hitting those harder areas, for sure.
Yep. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, everybody, for your help on this. Okay, I'll look for a motion.
A motion to approve ordinance number 2026-09, amending section 4-2-3 of the Herriman City Code regarding fireworks discharge restrictions and adopting the updated restriction map.
Second.
Motion by Matt, second by Teddy. Jared?
Yes.
Teddy?
Yes.
Matt?
Yep.
Tara?
Yes.
No vote yes. That motion carries. Okay, we'll go to item 10.2, discussion and award of grant funding for fiscal year 2027. Kyle?
Thank you, Mayor. I will keep this brief so the council can have discussion on this item. As you know, the city does have a grant program where we will award grant funding to organizations within the community. We did receive four requests this year. The full packet was included in the city council packet on those. So I won't go necessarily through them in detail, but I do have the 4 applications received on the screen here. We have had a couple people speak during public comment that did submit an application. So one was for Terrapin Electric Concepts for $52,212, KMS Foundation for $7,500, Friends of Herriman for $95,000, South Valley Performing Arts of $15,000. So the total requests were $169,712. Last year's grant funding was $90,500, consistent with other budgetary items that we deal with as we start the budget. We always start with the base budget. So staff's recommendation is to award up to $90,500. Our assistant city manager did lead the recommended funding recommendations, but I am happy to answer any questions before any discussion you and the council might have.
I don't think so. Go ahead. I was going to say, first off, we don't have, I've been through a few of these at the county, track board, stuff like that. Sometimes with presentations, haven't done that, right, necessarily, but we've had these packets. Carrie, we've talked, last year I think there was a perception that we kind of just brought it up in this meeting and didn't discuss, just so everybody aware that applied. Like, we've been through it, we've had the packets, we've had the information, we've gone through your whole application, so there may not be a robust discussion with back and forth, but we've seen all 4 great applications for what it's wanting to be. Staff's come up with our recommendation, but it's now on us to finalize or modify.
Yeah, Mayor, I was just going to mention that when we have these applications come in, that we have amazing partners that we've seen affect our communities and do things in our communities, and also the goals of me personally or the council. I don't want to speak on the behalf of the council, but where they align to what we want to see our grant money going towards throughout the city. So.
And I will say, by way of note, I'll just say too, I've participated in all 3 of the arts components, I guess. I've been to some of the King Music Studio stuff. Angela does a great job. I went to one of their performances last year. It was phenomenal. Right, of course, we're familiar with Friends of Herriman and all they do. It's more than arts, right? It's arts. It's trails that Trail's doing an amazing job in. And South Valley Performing Arts. Unfortunately, I didn't make a production this year, but I know your kids have been.
Yep, they're there all the time.
Huge fan of you and Bethany and all you're doing, of course, for sure. So I will say, and just to Terrapin, I will say staff, and I agree with staff's recommendation. I love what you want to do, but I don't think it fits within the parameters of this grant, right? This is for arts, so I think there's ways we can talk, so we'll talk down the road, but I think there's ways we can engage about.
My thought was that the charters.
Okay, so we'll talk. I would love to, maybe what we can do is get together after this, because we do this every year, so I don't think we anticipate something like that, so we can't really engage in much back and forth here, but let's talk. I would love to have you reach out to me, and let's, we can start a conversation about how that could work. So anyways, that's just my opinion, right? But another thing I will add is I talked to Nathan and Wendy, because when I saw the recommendations from staff, I'll be honest, Wendy, I'm not saying anything against staff at all right here, but I've always been concerned about, it felt like our levels were down that first budget from what I thought they were anyways, from what we had, but they've made it work, right? Friends of Herriman's made that work. So I worried about scaling it back to 75.5 for them. I think they do a lot because it goes beyond arts. They've been able to secure matching grants beyond this 90. I mean, they've maximized the money, in a big way, right? But then I think the other groups are doing amazing work too, and I don't want to pull them back either. So I did reach out to Nathan and Wendy and said, is their budget, right? What are we missing? And I'll just put this out there, Nathan, I hope it's okay to say that after reaching out to them, there is some sponsorship money that we did with the Warriors and everybody we've done in previous years. None of that's there anymore, so that's still there in the budget, though. I would like to propose we pull that $15,000 in, fully fund the $90,500, and I'm putting a number out there, and you guys can discuss. I'd like to still fund Friends of Herriman the $90,500, as well as $7,500 for South Valley Performing Arts. I talked to Carrie, they're thrilled with that, so even though they requested 15, they're thrilled with that. And then I tried to get hold of Angela. I couldn't get Angela to get back with me, but I'm sure she'll love the $7,500 because that's what she requested. So I'm just going to put that out there on the table. I think, I'm not saying we don't have to have a discussion, but I think by pulling that budget over, Nathan, you can speak to that, but I think we can fund Friends of Herriman at $90,500, King Music Studio at 75, and South Valley at 75. 90,500. It's less, yeah. Gotcha. That's what they requested, but 90,500 is the budget.
Yeah, there was, several years ago, council in the budget, it was during the last biennium, said people were coming in asking you for sponsorships to do things, and we didn't have any money, so we set some aside. We have not spent that in this current year, and it's also in that just goes back in the fund balance. So I'm not saying spend this year's, but it's also in the proposed budget you saw. We could pull it from there, just put it into this part, and then you wouldn't have the money if somebody came in and asked you for a sponsorship. But you got asked for a bunch. We didn't fund them. We put money in. Nobody's asked us since. So if we pull it out, then we'll get all those requests. But let's.
Well, I thought that was
some money.
why we were doing this process anyway, so that we didn't have these ad hoc sponsorship things. We do this once a year, and you can put in for it next year.
Yeah, and I think if I'm trying to remember, it was like we had the Rugby Shield come in, and we found some money. We took it that year from Economic Development, but it was to try and handle those kinds of issues.
Yeah, that's kind of what, at least for me, that's what spurred this on, was to, one, we kind of made that separation with the Arts Council, and Mayor talked to that a little bit, because we can't fund 100% of it, but then also we've got other competing community interests that we want to be able to support. So rather than try to dig some money up from somewhere during the year, this is what our budget is, and we'll go through this process once a year. And if somebody comes in, 6 months from now and says, hey, we would really like the city to sponsor this Warriors thing for $15,000, well, we'll look at it next year. This is our process.
In this process. So do
you want to, so this originally started from the old budget we were allocating towards that, the Art Council and the other requirements.
So what I'm saying is that whatever this budget is to me is what it should be. We shouldn't be doing extra sponsorships outside of this process.
So what he's saying is let's pull that 15,000 permanently, almost a permanent into this space. So let's make this budget now next year. I mean, that's not a motion right now, but I think.
So in our proposed budget, we'll take it from the line item where it's in now. We'll put it here. It won't change bottom line of the general fund. It'll just move where it's at. It may move, I think, I can't see. Oh,
Who has
right
ownership
there.
on that? Yeah.
It's in, this is in council, and this one's in, is in this in events?
It's in cultural arts, but
Cultural and arts. So
where
they're both in
it'll
the
be-
general
yeah,
fund. It's not a
big deal.
So right now, we just have two buckets and
We'll just make them one.
proposal one.
We'll make them one.
I love that. That way Friends of Herriman's kept whole, if you will. And now we've expanded to a couple of other options and I think this is a better use of taxpayer dollars than a sponsorship, if I'm being honest.
I agree.
So
I mean, that one sponsorship or that program did bring us
that was great that year.
quite a bit.
That was
Yeah.
great that year. But I think that's warranted, that served its purpose. And again, something like that could come and we could pull it out down the road if we felt the need. Any other discussion on this? I'm not trying to push through this, but at the same time, we like to talk a lot, we don't have to belabor too much.
Okay, then I'll make a motion to award grant funding in the amount of $90,500 for the 2027 fiscal year as are we doing 90?
No, you're doing,
Yeah.
uh,
So
105,500.
I'm going to motion to award grant funding in the following amounts to the following organizations: 7,500 to KMS Foundation. The 90, are we doing
90,500.
90,500 for Friends of Herriman and 7,500 for South Valley Performing Arts.
Second.
Love it. Okay, motion by Jared, second by Matt. We'll go Jared,
Yes.
Teddy,
yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Tara,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes as well. That motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. And Jordan, reach out to me, so. Okay, 10.3, consideration of a construction management contract with Civil Science for the Herriman Boulevard Extension Project. Bryce?
Okay, yes. As we have discussed, there is a project under design right now when it's pretty close to going to construction. This is the Herriman Boulevard Extension Project. So down at the very west end of where Herriman Boulevard terminates now, there's a project to extend that out to meet at an intersection with the U111 project that UDOT is working on currently. And that project, as we have discussed, was originally part of UDOT scope to build that project, but has since been transferred into Herriman City jurisdiction to build the road, but still use those UDOT funds that were intended for the project. And as a requirement of that, the road has to be built up to UDOT standards and has to be inspected as if it is a UDOT project. So this contract is, there's kind of the zoom in of the Herriman Boulevard extension that we're talking about for this project. There, the red dashed lines are all the kind of future roads in the area. But yeah, that's the area of the project. But as I was mentioning, because this has to be built to UDOT specifications and to accept the UDOT funds and utilize the UDOT funds, a requirement is that we hire the construction management from their consultant pool. So they've kind of vetted a few engineering firms that oversee project construction. And so we vetted a few of those and have a proposal from Civil Science, who we are recommending moving forward with on the construction management of this roadway project. What that means is project oversight, so they'll have a resident engineer, a fancy name for a project manager that oversees all of the engineering, material testing, inspection of public infrastructure, inspection of landscape and irrigation, and then obviously, as I have discussed, all of this inspection needs to make sure that we're meeting UDOT standards so that we do ensure that we get reimbursed for the cost of this project from those UDOT numbers. The total cost is just over $1 million, and as I mentioned, the city is to be reimbursed 100% by UDOT. And yeah, with that, I can answer any questions on the contract or the process.
Have they started construction on this yet? They're moving quite a bit of
No,
dirt, but-
so UDOT has started their portion on U111, and so there's been some grading work, and if you've driven on 118th out west, out by Bacchus, you'll see the impacts, because that's where they're starting. There's been some preliminary grading that the Public Infrastructure District, Olympia, has been doing ahead of this project because they knew it was coming. So there is some preliminary grading already done. But as the contract hasn't been awarded for construction yet, so the bid still hasn't been completed yet. So it hasn't officially started. There's been some work by the developer in the area to kind of prep for the project, but no, it hasn't officially begun yet.
Okay, seems pretty straightforward. I'll look for a motion. Is that it? You're done, right?
Yeah, that's all I've got.
Okay, I'll look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the construction management contract with Civil Science and Construction Management Services on the Herriman Boulevard Extension project.
Okay, motion by Teddy. Second by Matt. Jared?
Yes.
Teddy?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
And Tara?
Yes.
Okay, and I'll vote yes, that motion carries. Okay, that brings us to the conclusion of our meeting tonight. Who had 8 o'clock? You had 8 o'clock on your scorecard? Okay.
Extra buntinis for you.
Ooh,
in
I need a
the-
buntini.
in the room, yes.
Okay, happy birthday again to Matt. Go celebrate. So our future meetings, our next planning commission meeting next Wednesday at 7 o'clock. We do not have a council meeting in 2 weeks like we normally would. We've had to cancel that. Most of us will be in St. George at League of City and Towns Conference. So we're canceling that meeting, so we will next meet on May 13th at 7 o'clock. Senior bingo is next week at 10 o'clock on the 16th. That is that Thursday? Hungry Herriman Food Truck Roundup starts on the 27th again. That ramps up again on April 27th in the evening on Monday. Youth Council Concert in the Park, May 1st, out here in front at Crane Park. There is a Friends of Herriman. Do you guys remember when that is?
No, I saw
Monday, is it Monday?
the symphony thing,
It is, sorry, I just want to make sure we put that out there. It is, I swear, is it 20th? I cannot find it on my,
it's not on my calendar.
I should put it on. Maybe it's not coming up soon then. Is it May? Is it ways out then?
I think there's one while we are in.
Okay. Well, that's what I thought too, anyways. Look for information on social media because I can't find it right now. So, okay. So I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Aye.
Thanks, Tara.